Have you ever felt like giving up just when things started to get hard? Like the moment you committed, the world pushed back even harder? It's strange how the closer you get to something meaningful, the more life seems to test your patience, your will, your identity. And most people, they don't even realize it. They walk away right before the breakthrough, not because they're weak, but because the pain felt endless and they couldn't see how close they really were. The world is full of stories of people who almost made it, who were 1 inch away from changing their life, but gave up too early. And there's one story that captures this truth better than most. Years ago, there was a young man who dropped out of school with nothing but a dream. He had no connections, no money, and no formal education in what he wanted to do. All he had was a vision, an idea that seemed ridiculous at the time. He worked on it from his garage, fueled by obsession, not security. He would sleep on the floor, borrow money for food, all while friends were partying, building careers, getting safe jobs. He had none of that. Most of the people around him told him to stop, to get real. They said, "You're wasting your time." And honestly, he started believing it. One night, in the middle of another failed prototype, he almost quit. Almost. But something inside him whispered, "Not yet." That whisper turned out to be the one decision that changed everything. The man was Steve Jobs. And the product he almost gave up on? It would become the first Apple computer. Now we all know how that story ends. Apple became a $1 trillion company. Jobs became a symbol of creative vision. But what most people miss is how close he was to quitting. He was right at the edge of something great, and he didn't know it. That's how it happens for most people. You don't get a sign. You don't get fireworks telling you you're almost there. You get silence, doubt, and pain. That's the final test. See, the mind has a strange way of collapsing under pressure when it can't see progress. We've been trained to look for instant results. If we don't see rewards quickly, we assume something's wrong. We walk away, thinking it wasn't meant to be. But in reality, it was meant to be. It just hadn't finished becoming yet. The most painful moment is often the one right before the breakthrough. Ask any writer, athlete, artist, entrepreneur. There's always a point when it feels useless, pointless, when you wonder if you've just wasted months or years of your life chasing an illusion. But then, something clicks. The connection is made. The skill finally feels real. The thing you've been building starts to build you back. And suddenly everyone calls you talented. They call you lucky, but what they don't see, what they can't understand, is how long you stood in that storm, when nothing made sense. There's a term called the Valley of Despair. It's the phase right after the excitement fades and the results haven't shown up yet. It's where 99% of people quit. They quit not because they can't succeed, but because they mistake the valley for the end. It's not the end, it's the middle, the messy, dark, lonely middle. But on the other side, that's where the rare few live. Let's go back to Jobs for a second. Most people don't know this, but years after founding Apple, he got kicked out of his own company. Imagine building something from nothing, only to be thrown out of it. He was angry, lost, broken, but he didn't stay down. He started over. He created Next, then helped Pixar become a household name. And eventually, Apple asked him back. The very company that rejected him came full circle. Because he didn't give up when it hurt. He kept building through the doubt. Think about that. The rejection wasn't the end. It was just a reroute. So if you're watching this right now feeling like everything's against you, if you're wondering if it's even worth it anymore, let me say this as clearly as possible. You might be closer than you think. What if that one extra push is the one that flips everything? What if tomorrow's version of you looks back and says, "Thank God I didn't quit that day"? Because the truth is, the best things in life are quiet at first. No applause, no likes, just you and the work, the resistance, the discomfort, and then the shift. So when you feel like quitting, remember, most people walk away right before the door opens. Don't let that be your story. Don't let the doubt win. Don't let the silence convince you the work isn't working. Because it is, even when you can't see it. Hold the line, push once more, and if it still hurts, push again, not blindly, but bravely. Because sometimes it's not about talent. It's not about timing. It's about stamina. The stamina to stay in it long enough for the result to catch up. And when it does, you'll understand why most people never make it. It's not because they didn't have what it takes. It's because they didn't stay long enough to see what they were made of. So if no one's told you this lately, you're doing better than you think. Keep going. Subscribe to become the person you're meant to be.